Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Addicts.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where we get lost in a sea of gaming nostalgia. My name is Matt. With me, my co-host, good friend, Bill Barber. How's it going, Bill?
Oh, it is going. I'm on 3-day weekend vacation. I slept in today. Things are going great.
There you go. I got a slightly longer long weekend because I took Tuesday off because my wife has some dental work she has to get done, so I gotta be home for the kitty. Yeah, I get child, not cat. Don't want to be confusing there. But yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't get to sleep in today, but that'll be my morning tomorrow, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's good. No, it's been a long week.
Yeah.
I've had the ending song from Fast and Furious 7 stuck in my head for like 2 days now. That's fun.
That's funny.
Uh, but yeah, it's we're here. We made it to the
Mm,
weekend.
yeah,
It's been
and I'm
raining.
excited.
It's
Hmm?
it's been raining and it's been freezing lately. I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, today, like the weather here, just doesn't know what it wants to do because it keeps like fluctuating between raining and like sunshine.
Same.
Like it's happened like 3 times. We've gotten like bursts of sunshine for like 45 minutes and then it'll start raining again. I
Mm.
don't know what the hell's going on. Fucking New England, what are you gonna
Yep.
do?
hmm
That's how it goes.
Me and Alex went. We had to run some errands before recording this today, and of course, we stopped by the manga shops, like and everything like usual. A lot of early releases this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found the next Kaiju number 8 volume. That's not supposed to be out until June,
Hmm.
so that was
Jeez.
fun. I found that. I found the next Oshinoko and the next. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, and
Very nice.
Alex got the first volume of Steel Ball Run.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that was out already.
I don't think it is. I think it just she got it early.
Well, I just meant like I didn't know it was coming so soon. Like I knew it was coming this year, but like that was quick.
Yeah, they just finished Stone Ocean, so now they're Steel Ball running it.
Hmm. Oh
It's
yeah.
crazy when you think that manga is super old, but like we're only getting it over here now.
Yeah, which is really weird too, because I feel like JoJo's has been like I know like for a while it was kind of a niche thing because we didn't have like a full adaptation until like somewhat recently.
It was
But
niche up until the recent like the anime redo, which
yeah,
basically like pushed it into stardom.
but that's the thing is like I swear like I had heard of it like a bunch of times like leading up. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like even if we didn't get the anime right away, like the fact that we didn't get the manga is wild to me.
True. Manga was weird back in the day though. Like certain things, only certain companies got it. Like we didn't get as
Well,
much.
even the fact that it took as long as it did for us to get like even like now at the point we're at now where JoJo's is like a huge thing over here, like it still took this long for us to get like not the current, not the previous one either, but the one before that. Like
Yeah.
I just find that odd.
Yeah. It's just funny to me. Like what's really funny is when you find like retro manga, like there's a retro collecting store that nearby me. Matt's been there once.
Hmm.
Um and they have a manga selection. They have a bunch of like old Inuyasha manga. And I always see it and I'm always tempted to pick a couple of them up, but I'm like, I already have the Bizbigs. There's really no reason. Um
Oh, like the original releases.
the original releases that are flipped.
Oh,
Yeah, they
so
flipped
they mirrored it.
they read the normal way, not the manga way.
That's weird. I don't know
Which
how
I
I'd feel about that.
it's weird. It's like when you read Solo Leveling and you go, "Oh, this is getting used to that."
Yeah, or when you read Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, Well, for some
which
reason, Scott Pilgrim, my brain's like, this is a comic, and my brain just kind of goes like, yeah, this is fine.
yeah, but it's specifically designed to be like manga. Like they did that on purpose.
True. Although I have the color editions now, and those are bigger, so it kind of that feels more like a comic book.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I still got to get the rest of those. I happened to find 2 volumes of it at Savers. I was like, I got to get the rest of them.
Hmm.
They're the black and white ones, I'm pretty sure though. So like, I don't have to go out of my way to get anything crazy special. I did get I got the first 4 collector's editions of Fruits Basket. So I'm working on that. I got a third of the series now, so I'm getting there.
You'll have volume 7 at some point. So
Hmm. Well, my hope is that by the time I get that, I'll have 1 through 6. So
also,
yeah,
you know what the dramatic irony is?
what?
You started collecting it, and they just announced like next year they're doing a box set.
That's fine.
It's just like I saw them, like, wow, of course.
I mean, I'm pretty much getting them for free anyway because I'm using my fetch rewards to buy them.
Fair.
So I can't really complain. I mean, if like say I get like a $10 reward and like I get a couple used ones and like it comes out to like $14, it's like okay, I spent $4 for 2 of these. It's not bad.
Yeah, especially because
Oh,
they retail at like 20.
yeah.
So
So like all told, if I spend maybe $25-$30 of my own money added to like the fetch rewards and I get the whole series, that's not a bad deal. So I'm not complaining.
you you know why I have this copy, like an extra of this?
What was that?
So I ordered this one on Amazon, and it got delayed in shipping, and it was going to take like a month to get here. And I got impatient. And I found it at Newbury, so I just bought it there, and then I forgot about this one. And then this one showed up, and I went, "Oh, okay,
I guess I have 2 of these now.
yeah." What's really funny is like this is probably the most random pairing of characters too, because on one side you get the most nothing character in the entire series, and then we get one of the most important characters in the series
That's about right.
that have nothing to do with each other.
I don't think they've ever interacted in the show.
Probably not. I mean, Ritsu has like maybe like 2 seconds of screen time, and then he disappears for the rest of it. So
Yeah. But yeah, I am looking forward to eventually reading that. I'm not going to start reading it until I finish my current read of Attack on Titan.
that's fair.
Just because I never finished it my first read of it because I stopped at the point where the anime was at the time and I just didn't pick it back up. I didn't want to spoil myself, so
Yeah, I'm reading Kaiju number 8 right now. It's been not counting my ongoing series, like whenever a new volume comes out, I'll read it. But Kaiju number 8's been my the one I'm reading right now. It's been fun.
But yeah, I think the next one I collect is probably going to be Soul Eater because I really well, first of all, I really want to know how that series ends. Um, and also like I just feel like the art style, like just like looking at the art style of how the anime is, I feel like the art in the manga is gonna be like next level. You know, kind of like with like Yu-Gi-Oh. Like you look at the art in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and then you read the manga, and you're like, this blows everything in the anime out of the water.
It's amazing how many animes you can say that for now.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty wild.
Speaking of anime, I actually did watch one recently
Whoa!
because I had time, so I finally sat down and watched an anime. So I recently finished. It's one of those ones with with a stupidly long name, so bear with me for a minute. I finished watching I May Be a Guild Receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
I've heard of that one. I've heard that one's good.
So I was watching it because our friend Slade watched it, and then Alex watched it, and they both said it was good. And I figured, you know what? I want to watch this. It looks quirky and dumb. I was very off put by like watching 2 episodes in and seeing the main character and being, OMG, this is literally me. Because aside from being a female, like the entire character's whole shtick is she works at a job and she's overworked and she hates overtime and she doesn't want to have to work overtime. And like, but her solution is she has magical powers and it's like a mystic world where they have like a bunch of dungeon raids and stuff. Her
Mm.
solution to the overtime issue is she'll just go in there and do it herself because no one else
But
seems
right.
to be able to do it.
Hell yeah. I did it, Bill. I hit 100.
I think Alex has already given up. She's already said, "I give up."
Yes.
'Cause-
Well, I feel like at this point I have enough of a lead where I felt comfortable kind of taking a step back, and while I'm watching some like not anime stuff as well. I've pretty much wrapped up my Flanagan thing.
Hmm,
There's technically one more movie and then another one that's coming out in like a month. But
nice.
aside from like I've watched all the series, so just aside from a couple of movies, there's a couple other shows that I want to watch. There's a few MCU things I need to catch up on, and I want to start going through CW again, but I want to watch the Mr. Mercedes series first because I
Hmm.
started that a while back and I never even finished the first season. So I really want to go through that. And but anime wise, I decided to take a step back, and I feel like at this point I have enough of a comfortable buffer to watch to do a long rewatch. So I started watching Inuyasha.
Nice.
Yes. Um, and I'm gonna go through it. And I'm gonna watch the movies where they are like in the timeline, and then when I finish it, I'm gonna watch Yashahime, and I'll let you
Mhm.
know when I finish the show so we can do an episode on it because I know you've been chopping at the bit to do an Inuyasha episode.
Yeah. I'm more interested to talk about Yashahime at this point because like no one is, and there's a lot to say about that show.
Fair enough. I mean, we could do like two separate episodes.
Probably we should, honestly, because there's a lot there. I love that you can theoretically watch those movies in where they belong on the timeline, but they really have nothing to do with what's going on at the time.
That's fair. I just felt like because I've watched like one of them I think years ago, but I wasn't like doing it like during my watch. I like watched the show and then I went to go watch the movies, and I only watched like one of them. But
Only two of them
um,
are really worth watching, but they're fun regardless.
well, I'm just gonna do it anyway because fuck it. Also, while I think Inuyasha still falls under the category of like a serialized show that like in Japan say didn't have seasons, but they have classified seasons here, so I'm counting each season as a different entry.
You could, I mean, the lists have no rules, so you can do whatever you want. Um, I usually the way I do it is I usually go by whatever any list listed as, and if it listed as one whole thing, then I'll like just do one.
Well, Netflix has it separated into 6 seasons and then the final act, so
That's fair.
that's where I'm watching it. So
See, I would split the original and the final act just because those are considered different things on most of the sites, but
yeah, because technically final act is like a sequel series or like a continuation, like a Z.
it's it's
Technically,
basically kind of it's more the last like handful of chapters.
it's the Thousand-Year Blood War of Inuyasha.
Yeah, it just kind of condenses that the ending of the series into 26 episodes. It skips a lot of shit from the manga. I will say I discovered that recently.
Well, that's another thing is like, yeah, I really want to collect Soul Eater, but another thing is like, I do also really want to collect Inuyasha because I like that series a lot, and I still have to finish up my Kenshin collection as well. But that's probably gonna have to wait until tax season because yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
those last ones are because I'm already committed to the Vizbigs, and I can't have like part Vizbig and part 3-in-1. It's just not gonna work. So
yeah. I mean,
oh
with
well.
with Inuyasha, you kind of only have the choice of Bizbig because there is no other option right now.
Well, I'm totally fine with that because it's a long series and it's 3-in-1s. So
Yeah,
I'll take it.
18 total.
And I like Vizbigs anyway. It's a comfortable sized manga. It's big enough where you could really appreciate the art, but it's not like Attack on Titan Colossal Edition.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's the only series I was able to watch this week because this was another one of those weeks where I had a lot of podcasts to record and I was just really tired.
yeah, I'm still crossing my fingers, Bill. Still crossing my fingers that you're gonna watch the thing.
I'm gonna try next week. I might have a few days, so because it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to record GNCs on Wednesday for a bit, so I might have
Hmm.
some time. But We'll
I'm just
see.
saying, if you watch, watch an episode or two here and there. Like, you don't have to watch it all at once. It's long.
Yeah,
for,
we might
for
we might we might have to push it back to the weekend, like recording like we are this week. But I'll let you know.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay. But yeah. Other than that, I think we should probably transition over to Daima time because we're wrapping up the series today.
Yes, we're so just throwing this out there. I mean, obviously, we go into spoilers in every episode, but these three are kind of big. So if you are not up to date, if you have not finished the series, skip over this. Especially if you haven't been spoiled already.
Somehow I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't. Yeah. So the final 3 episodes of Daima can be best described as holy shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So if there was ever any debate over whether or not this is Toriyama's take on GT, that's right out the window now. There's no debate to be had.
Yeah, because I'm just gonna flat out say it. Super Saiyan 4.
Yep.
But it's Toriyama's take on Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, so it's Super Saiyan 4 with big hands.
And red hair.
I don't know how I feel about the red hair. I feel like I like the black hair better.
The black hair made it look unique. I don't mind the red hair. So you know what happened? Somebody had drawn the thing I thought was a spoiler is somebody had drawn like really bad fan art of Super Saiyan 4, but it looked like God mode. So I thought he was going God mode in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely was thrown the wrong direction. And then I saw it. I'm like, when I saw the tail and the fur, I went, "That's Super Saiyan 4." I was like, wait a minute, this is completely not what I was thinking.
Oh, full on. They even call it that in the final episode. So it's like, it's not even a question. It's just Super Saiyan 4. Just Toriyama's take on it.
It's officially canon.
Hooray!
And the dramatic irony that Vegeta finally figures out Super Saiyan 3, but now can't do 4.
Yeah, which, just got to keep that trend going. Goku's always going to have that extra step up on him.
True.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. He didn't go Super Saiyan 3. He went Ultra Vegeta 1.
Well, he's whipped as fuck, as we've learned anyways, so.
Oh, I love that. The only thing that I've actually made Cindy sit and watch is that one scene, which we'll bring up later.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of it, they're still having their big fight. Goku powers up to Super Saiyan 3, and Ku sees that, and he sees Goku going nuts in Super Saiyan 3, and he's like, "Power up!" Yes, that's right. And he flies off, and he goes to get a giant cookie, and he tosses it to Do, and Do starts to power up after he eats the cookie, and he imitates Super Saiyan 3. His goopy body just kind of forms Super Saiyan 3 hair, just because why not? And sure. I know I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but I love Doo's fighting style. Just the way he comes at Goma after he does his little Super Saiyan 3 thing. I don't know, it's such a unique thing, and I wish we had seen more of that kind of thing from Boo back in the day, but obviously there was limitations on what they could do with animation and how much time they had to work on it and stuff. So obviously it wasn't gonna be a guaranteed thing that they could do. But yeah, we pretty much have the 3-way tag team against Goma, the 3 strongest good guys. You got Goku, Do, and Tamagami number 1. And they do pretty good for a little bit. And then Goma, I don't know, just bitch smacks everybody.
Yeah, because the eye of what's the eye called again? It's you
can either call it the evil third eye or the tertian oculus.
Yeah. That thing, it's essentially the power can be best described as "fuck you, the power," because it basically just says "Oh, you're making progress. Well, fuck you. Now you're not."
Yep, pretty much. It's practically an item that just grants immortality when it's equipped.
But it has the weirdest weakness ever.
It's kind of amazing though, especially the
Yeah.
way that wraps up. Like it's pretty wonderful.
But during the fight, Neva kind of like notices Goku and like I forget how he does it eventually, but he kind of like gives him Super Saiyan 4.
Well, it's kind of up for debate, like how, because he does the thing, right? He like kind of like does a little like energy transfer thing, whatever the fuck he was doing, unlocking power or whatever. But then later on, Goku says that he trained for it, so it's kind of up for debate exactly how it happened. But
Because
at
like the way,
at the very least, Neva gave him what he needed to pull it off in that moment.
yeah, because it's Super Saiyan 4 is so confusing too. Like, because the way he gets it in GT is like this whole dramatic thing, and then in this one, it's not as dramatic, but it's still interesting.
Yeah, because in GT, it was like he had to become a great ape and then become like self-aware in great ape form and be able to like compress the power, which actually like kind of made more sense,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
but then like the Brawly movie completely threw that out the window because Brawly can apparently just harness that power normally.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's a confusing deal with all that, but at the
You
same
could,
time, like I don't know, I like that it's there.
I mean, Super Saiyan 4 is a cool design. That's why I'm happy it's here. It's just like the way it gets brought in is always so goofy.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Goku goes Super Saiyan 4 in kid form, which is also kind of another little jab at GT, because GT is the whole like, oh well, when he's in Super Saiyan 4, he just becomes an adult because fuck you.
Yeah, because we have to pay Sean Chamel somehow.
But in Daima here, he's just kid form Super Saiyan 4.
That's like I still going back to GT, like that's one of the dumbest lines is when Goku's like, well, if I want to hang out with Chi-Chi, I could just go Super Saiyan 4. And it's like that's not the point, Goku.
Yeah, there was even like a scene where like Pam was like, "Oh, it's grandparents' day at school next week. Can you turn Super Saiyan 4 and come in?"
Traumatize the children.
Yeah, right. It's just like, why is your grandfather so hairy? And he has a tail.
And everything. Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, he goes Super Saiyan 4 and he's giving Goma a run for his money. And like, well, first of all, I just want to praise Stephanie Nadalny with her performance doing Super Saiyan 4, because she like really like brought out like the animal side of Goku, and she did a very good job of it.
Because
In a way that I don't think Sean Schemmel really matched her with that when he was doing his Super Saiyan 4 thing later.
Yeah. Yeah, because for those who don't, spoiler warning, this is her final episode, basically. Yeah, it's actually really funny. The more you say it, the more I realize that Daima is literally just Toriyama going like, this is Dragon Ball GT if I did it right.
Yeah. This is what would have happened with GT if I had been in charge of it from the start.
Because it's like basically the same thing, like space adventure, finding Dragon Balls.
Yep.
Going across worlds, kids,
Playing it with
Super
giants.
Super Saiyan 4. That's really weird when you think about it. Now that I think. But
and even like when doesn't happen until a little bit from now, but like when they summon the dragon, like I mean, think about it. GT, the Black Star Dragon was literally just a gigantic red Shenron, and the Demon Realm Dragon is just a gigantic red Porunga.
Yeah.
So it's like literally like 1 for 1 here.
Yeah. So the fight kind of goes on. It's still kind of a stalemate the whole time. Like Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku is doing a good job, but like fucking the eye just gives him like fuck you powers. So like anytime he gets an edge, it's like nope.
Yep.
But in the background, we're getting the Dragon Balls are being gathered by what's her name?
Arinsu.
And the episode basically ends where the dragon gets summoned and she has Florio do the
who apparently knows Namekian, by the way.
Yeah, that was something he learned off screen, I guess. Yeah, it has him do the ritual, and it ends with he does the wish, and it cuts right there.
It doesn't say what the wish is, because it's kind of like setting up for like a dramatic, like, oh, is he gonna give Arinsu her wish, or is he gonna help out his new friends? Which, I mean, everybody knows what he's gonna do. It's not a secret. Like, it's not even a dramatic thing. Like, it's just everybody knows. It's just like how with the Tournament of Power, like everybody knew that the wish was going to be to bring back all the universes. There was no debate.
Yeah. So that he does that, and then we get the next week's episode, which was a double release apparently, because like
I was expecting that.
Yeah, like when I finished the next episode, it like all of a sudden it was like play next episode. I'm like, oh, that's not dubbed yet. And I saw, I'm like, oh, it is. Fuck, I guess I'm finishing it tonight.
Yep, pretty much. Which I'm totally fine with. I'm honestly, the last 3 would have been. You see, like, how they did the whole like theater release for the first 3 episodes? They should have done that for the last 3 episodes.
Honestly, yeah.
That would have been a much more theater-worthy experience.
Yeah, than the first 3, which are 3 of the most nothing episodes in this entire series.
For real.
This is such a rear-loaded series, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like I think like the series doesn't really start to kind of like go full swing until like episode 8 when he fights the first Tamagami.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gloria makes the wish, and all of our friends become adults again, which is kind of funny because what's her name? Pansy was holding Dende, and like the wish happens, and she's just holding a full-grown Namekian.
Yeah, and they're both very like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Goku's very happy about it. Vegeta is extremely happy about it.
Oh, he's on cloud 9.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'm me again." Bulma's kind of upset that she's old again.
Yep, but Vegeta's like, "All right, go, Kakarot. You had your turn. I'm jumping in. I'm tagging in." And we get adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
I just love Vegeta's logic of like, he's like, "Oh, we're adults now, so we don't need to like, team up anymore. I can do this on my own." And it's like, I don't. It's like, sure, man, sure.
If you say so.
It's like, we know where this is going.
Yep, typical. Even though he didn't technically lose, he backed off.
Yeah, I do love the fact too that once it's revealed that Glorio made that wish, like Goku's like, "Yo, thanks." He gets his name wrong again. He's like, "It's Glorio," again.
Yep. Well, actually, no. Wasn't that the one time where he said it right?
Well, no, he says it again later after the fight.
Oh, okay.
But he gets it right the one time.
Yeah, and then like Aritsu and Glorio have that whole like scene where like she's like, "Well, I fucking got you out of that hellhole and did all this shit for you, and you're gonna do me like that?" He's like, "Yeah, kinda." She's like, "All right, you're fired. Beat it."
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I could just leave. Cool."
Yep.
She's not even that upset about it. She's kind of like, "Yeah, whatever."
She's like, "Yeah, all right, fine, I get it." And Ku's just like, "But don't worry, you still got me." And she's like, actually kind of happy about that for a second there.
Well, they're more
I think by this point she's realizing that Ku is just like the best.
Well, she's got lackeys that are like 100% loyal to her, so she's like, "Oh, perfect."
Yep,
that's what I wanted, anyways.
And yeah. So Vegeta starts his fight. He goes Super Saiyan 3, has his whole moment, and like as much as it was cool seeing it, I still think it would have been a really funny Toriyama gag if we only saw Vegeta as Super Saiyan 3 in kid form.
Yeah, he just loses the ability to do it somehow.
Kind of like how he's got this he had that continual gag where we just are not allowed to see adult fused Gotenks. Like, it's just not, like, we can't see them do it correctly as adults. It's always the fat Gotenks.
Yeah. I also love like Bulma's reaction to Vegeta just being Vegeta, where she's just like, ugh, like again.
Pretty much. So Arinsu has Ku go fetch her little magic book, and they learn that the way to remove the Tertian Oculus is to hit him on the head, in the back of the head 3 times real hard.
Just kick him in the back of the head multiple times. That'll solve it.
That's literally all you got to do. Just three whaps in the back of the head.
But Oh, yeah, predictably, the Vegeta fight, the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta fight against what's his name again?
Goma.
Against Goma is pretty fun. The only downside to it to me is the fact that like it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it was still a really well animated fight, and Vegeta he brought it, so I'm happy about that. Also, just gonna throw this out there. I don't think it's out yet, but we were given confirmation that there is going to be Daima DLC in Kakarot. So that means confirmed Super Saiyan 4 will be in Kakarot.
Nice.
Also, we might get Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but that doesn't really matter because he already has God in Blue. So it's just going to be there for flavor. It's not really going to be
It's going to be a thing. It's like, oh, he can do this thing that everyone thinks is cool, but it's kind of worthless.
I'm kind of into the idea of being able to use Super Saiyan 4 in Kakarot, though.
Yeah, I'm just curious where they're going to scale that, because Super Saiyan 4's power level is so confusing, because no one really knows where it is. It would even.
Yeah, there was a lot of debate when Super was running about where Super Saiyan 4 stood in comparison to like God and Blue.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter now because he's got fucking Ultra Instinct, so it's like, okay,
yeah,
it's like, what does it even matter? But
that's his ultimate final form.
Yeah, that being said, though, going back to the fight, obviously the Vegeta fight doesn't go anywhere, but we do get like basically they just do a whole bunch of exposition while Vegeta's getting his butt kicked up there.
Yeah, formulating their plan.
And then of course, like they're like Goku's like, Vegeta, tag in, switch. It's like you're not gonna win, and Vegeta's like, no, I'm not gonna stop.
He's like, I'd rather die.
He's just being a dick about it. And we get the
they're all like talking about it, and they're like, yeah, he's not gonna switch. And Bulma's just like, I got this, guys. Hold my beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she pretty much yells at him and tells him he's being stupid. He's like, shut up, woman. Whatever. And she's like, all right, well, fine, but if you don't switch out now, I'll never take a bath with you ever again. And we get the most dramatic look on his face. And he like practically fucking teleports back down there. It's like, you guys can take it from here.
Yeah, he's like, Kakarot, it's your turn. Just completely walks off. It's like, damn, he's whipped. No more sexy bath time.
Which, I know it's played for a gag, but it does kind of show some growth for Vegeta, I feel like. I
love the running joke that Vegeta's a better husband than Kakarot ever will, like Goku will ever be.
Yep. It's true. He was there for his kid's birth. At least, well, one of them at least.
What? Oh, he was there for Trunks, wasn't he?
I think he was training in space.
Oh. Well, he was there for Ra, so.
Yeah.
Not that was much of a birth. That was more just like Whis was like, this is taking too long.
She just got booped into existence.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse. It's like the reverse blip.
Yeah.
It's like a Thanos snapped his finger with his other hand.
Yeah. Whis was like, this is taking too long. Vegeta's being an asshole. He's like, Bulma, I got it. There you go. None of the work.
So then we get a recreation of the pretty much the Buu saga. Like, let me show you my Super Saiyan gauntlet.
When he started doing that, I was like, are we doing this again? Okay, sure.
Of course, we got to do it again.
The music was pretty good too. It was kind of similar to the original, but it's never going to be the Faulkner original music.
No, that was just way too epic with the Faulkner music. Like, I have my gripes with the old Faulkner music as much as it is nostalgic, but that scene is still top tier.
That's the one piece of music that people will forever stand by, to the point where it's in so many fan things.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, there's that, and there's that like the Vegeta theme with the piano. But anyways, so we get that whole like Super Saiyan gauntlet, like him like demonstrating all the different forms, and holy crap, they put a lot of effort into that animation.
Yep, and we get to hear Schemmel blow out his vocal cords again.
Yep, which apparently he passed out 3 times in the booth doing this.
I love the fact that you think about it, and Schemmel's passing out, but meanwhile, the lady in Japan is just fucking going hard still.
Yeah, the 86-year-old lady in Japan is just screaming her fucking head off, just killing it.
Yeah, Schemmel passes out 3 times. He's
And,
just he
and
just didn't
Schemmel's
go
a French
beyond.
horn player, so he should have like that. He should have some fucking air capacity.
He just wasn't able to go beyond.
Yeah, he even said that and go further beyond thing.
Yeah. But we get to see Goku turn Super Saiyan 4, so you get to see adult Super Saiyan 4 with red hair, which is fine.
It
Still
was
prefer
his
the
weird
black.
big hands and bare forearms.
Yeah, it's an interesting design.
It's and he still has the yellow pants. He's still got the yellow pants.
Yeah, they just turn
out
yellow.
of nowhere.
They just turn yellow.
They just appear out of nowhere.
Toriyama like designed it, and he's like, I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I drew it.
This is the way it looks.
He's like, doesn't matter, make it work.
So I know we kind of like glanced over it, but like Goku's fighting style when he's in Super Saiyan 4, like I love how much more animalistic he is about it. Like when he was in kid form, like he was like, you know, there would be like little bits where he'd be like running on all fours and you know, he'd utilize his tail in battle like he used to back in the day, and like I don't know, it's just really well done. Like I love the choreography with that. And then again with him as an adult, like he's not doing it quite to that degree, but he's still doing like the kind of like an ape-like fighting style, which we don't usually see from him. Like he's usually very much like straight up martial arts.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fight goes pretty much as you expect, or as we have come to expect up to this point. One disappointment I do have is that we didn't see the 10 times Kamehameha, the red one.
Yeah.
Maybe there would have been too much red though with the hair and everything. But we did get a different kind of Kamehameha though, because he shoot the big one he does at the end there, that like punches through like each of the demon realms. That
And
apparently like cleaned all their air.
Yeah, and he put a giant hole in Goma.
Yeah, but with that Kamehameha, it was regular, but like it was like wreathed in flame, which was pretty cool. There was another thing too that I noticed. Oh, for some reason we kept getting the Kaioken sound effect as he was like flying around and doing his thing. I thought that was interesting.
I'm gonna guess they were just reusing sound effects.
I mean, they do that a lot. I mean, they've used pretty much every Dragon Ball sound effect in One Piece,
Yes.
including the Kamehameha. But it's one of those things where in Dragon Ball they usually make it a point to try and like with certain sound effects they'll use them for specific things. So I thought it was interesting that they used it there.
Toriyama forgot. Just bring it back.
Demon Realm.
Oh yeah, Demon Realm. That's the new excuse for everything.
But so yeah, after Goku punches that big hole in Goma, Piccolo tries to seize the gap and hits him twice in the head.
I hate the fact that they just fucking cockblock Piccolo here. It's like poor guy.
Yeah, it's like Tournament of Power all over again.
I mean, it's great that he had a movie, but it's still like, goddamn.
Yeah, he didn't have his new form in this. That's all.
Yeah. But when he couldn't get the throw in, I was like, of course, this isn't over yet because we have to have more.
Yeah. And then like Goma's just going on a rampage and everything. And then just by chance, Ku is like still holding the big ass magic book. And because of all like the energy and like the air moving around, like he just kind of flies into Goma and just whaps him 3 times real quick and the eye pops out.
I thought that was a funny, like, I like the fact that they made the way it works a big gag because like he just hits him with the book 3 times and I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm okay with it.
You know what it kind of reminded me of a little bit was in Super during that the Jelly Vegeta mini arc when like they're having all this trouble beating him and then Monaka just kind of like takes a step back and steps on the core by accident and it just kills him. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
I will say my absolute favorite scene is after the eye gets knocked out and like he shrinks down. The eye's just sitting on the ground and they just run up to it. They're like, destroy it. And it literally they just step on it, and it just makes this little like splat sound, and that's it. It's gone.
Like, all right, done with that.
It's just so anticlimactic. It was just like blip, gone.
Pretty much. So yeah, we pretty much come to the conclusion that like, all right, we're gonna lock Goma and Degasu up together in like this. It's literally like the Mafuba, but they got sealed in like a jar that has like video games and shit.
Yeah.
So like, they're gonna be stuck there for 99 years, but I mean, it's worse situations. You could be like King Piccolo.
Yeah, I just love the joke. It's like, hey, don't worry, you'll have plenty to read and games to play.
Also, we skipped over it, but I thought it was interesting, like seeing like how powerful this new dragon is. Because I mean, you think back to like OG Dragon Ball when like King Piccolo was able to kill Shenron, but like this super powered mega, like not even Super Saiyan 4 Goku can touch me Goma, just got flicked away by this dragon. Yes. Like couldn't do shit against him. Like it's like, all right, this is pretty cool.
We also get a great so after that, like you get the big reunion scene. Everyone comes up, like Pansy reunites with everybody. Gloria, like Goku finally says Glorio's name right when he's like, "Thanks, man, you did it. Thanks for the help." And he gets his name right once, and he's like, "Okay, this is fine."
Yep.
We also get this lovely scene where they're like, "Okay, we need to decide who the new ruler is," and they keep kind of going back and forth with who it should be, and then we get a great scene where Hype's is like, "I'd like a trance, please."
Yeah.
They just ignore him like no one cares.
Yep. But then ultimately, like Aryansu turns it down because she's like, "Well, I didn't, do it through power, so I would just be overthrown like immediately anyway. So I'm just not going to do it." And then Neva's like, "All right, well, in true Demon Realm fashion, the person who defeated the previous king is the first in line." And they all just have that moment, and like they look at Ku, they're like, "Oh shit." I guess Ku is the new Demon King.
And then he turns out he's super competent.
Yep, and everybody gets a minister job. Everybody. Except the one person who asked for it.
Oh yeah, I respect there, chillin'.
Because he's literally just handed him out, and he's like, "Anyone else want to be a minister?" And Hybris is just like, me, pick me. And he's just like, "Okay, that's it."
Yeah, that was poor Hybris. I think that's the last time we see him too.
I think so. Yeah, because I don't think he went with them when they left.
No, his arc is over.
Yes, sad day.
I
We'll
have
never
to
see
say,
Hybris again.
Yeah,
I said maybe in Heroes.
True.
Oh wait, Heroes is done now.
Oh
fuck.
No, he's gone. I have to say, like the most confusing character throughout this entire anime, I think, has to be Neva. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck his goal was here.
I think he just wanted to stir the pot. Like,
yeah, maybe.
Like, I think this is like the only reason he went with Goma in the first place to Earth to do the whole Dragon Ball thing. Is she's just like, yeah, this will stir some shit up. These guys are gonna come and try to fucking mess some shit up.
It's like this will solve a lot of problems for me. I'm gonna pretend to be senile for an entire thing.
Yeah, I love that that's just like a running joke. It's just like, when are you not senile? He's just like, and I love that he just like, his like thing is just winking at people. Like when they had that whole scene with Glorio when he, made his choice and defended his new friends. Like he turned, you just see Neva wink at him.
Yeah. I did like the little friendship between Pansy and Bulma too, after Bulma got restored to her normal age.
Yep, and she got a whole bunch of Magilite.
Yeah, and she's like, "I don't even need this much, but I'll take it."
Yeah, right. Which I guess, if we're gonna try and combine the series, all the different shows, that would explain a lot of the huge advances in technology in Super.
True. The only plot hole is why doesn't he ever use Super Saiyan 4 again? Why can't Vegeta use Super Saiyan 3? But
yeah, well, again, that's where the whole the time ring theory comes
Yeah.
into play.
Um,
Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there. We never got that fusion
nope.
because they made it a point, like in like episode 4. It's just like, oh look, Demon Realm has their own method of fusion. Here, take this fusion bug. Just nothing ever comes of it. We never got a fusion. You see, like
Also-
a while back when we were talking about that, I like had like at this point the Japanese hadn't finished yet, so I didn't know yet. Like I was fully convinced that we were gonna get a Kudu fusion, which would have been cool,
Nope.
but no such luck.
I have to say too, this is something I just noticed. Does Goku lose the power pole in the Demon World?
No, he had it. He had it when they were.
Does he
when
pick
they
it up?
stopped.
Okay.
He had it strapped to his back when they stopped at the store again.
Okay. Because for a second, because I know he loses it before he goes Super Saiyan 4. I was like, does he forget to pick it up? Like, are we gonna have a plot hole?
And also when they were getting ready to leave, or whatever, when I don't know, something like that was happening, and they're all like standing there waving, and Pansy just has Vegeta's arm and she's waving him, and he's just like,
Yeah.
like she's just rocking him back and forth. It was funny as fuck.
Yeah. I'm
He was just so unenthused.
I'm gonna miss Glorio and Pansy. They're fun characters.
But especially Hybus and Ku.
Yeah, those guys as well. I will say, so after credit scene, very easy to miss if you're not paying attention. But I did love the credits. It showed all of everybody back home got restored back. But my favorite part is like it showed them doing what they were doing when they got turned back.
Yeah,
which is really kind of entertaining.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. And Roshi was still in front of the mirror.
Yeah,
where he was when they left.
Kind of found it kind of sad that it basically. Or Chi-Chi, hers is like it's implied that she literally doesn't have a life because she was just doing dishes.
Yeah.
Up on a stool on like this little staircase thing. And I'm just like,
well, that explains why she's so obsessed with the success of her children, because she literally has like nothing going on. It just really like accentuates just how shitty Goku is to her, because like she literally just keeps house for decades, and that's all she is good for.
Like, like anytime I get like someone will have like a whole thing about why they hate Chi-Chi, I'm just like sitting there going like, is it really her fault though? Like, have you seen what she puts up with?
For real.
But
the only reason Bulma and Vegeta's relationship is so good is because she's rich as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh well.
Also, like the difference too is like if Chi-Chi gets angry, Goku just runs away. Like that's just Goku's that's Goku's answer to everything. Just go run and hide.
Pretty much. So yeah, they stop at the store again on the way out, which I'm glad we got one more scene with the shopkeepers. I like them.
Well, because their whole reason is like they're like, we should go get more of those bugs because those bugs can be very useful to us in the future.
Yeah, they're like, we're running low on senzu beans, so we should just go and grab a shit ton of those bugs.
I like how the shopkeeper's like, wow, you guys are tall now. Like, what happened?
Yeah, it's like you had a growth spurt. He's like, yeah, not really, but
I love too, like Bulma's like looking at the bugs and she's like, ew, this is disgusting. How could you ever do this? And the one lady's like, oh, but there's a bug here that can make you look 12 years younger.
Yeah. And she's like, I'll take all of them. Every single one.
But then we get the big dramatic like wham moment where Pansy's like, oh, what's this in the back? And she like dusts off this jar and it has 2 more of the eyes just chilling in it.
Which is the big reveal that eye originally came from that shop, and they like special ordered it just as part of their stock, and just nobody somebody bought. It's like, oh, well, somebody bought one years ago. That's the only one we were ever able to sell. We just still have these ones.
And it literally just ends with everyone being like shocked face, and then it just cuts to the end. Yep.
So they could have easily just fucking grabbed one on the way when they were doing this whole thing at the beginning.
Yeah. So funny. It's just like such a funny like last minute wham moment where you're like, what?
I was really hoping though that like they were gonna kind of tie it together at the end, because obviously we didn't get the fusion we were expecting to get. So what I thought was going to happen in that post-credit scene was we were going to get back, and like I don't know, maybe like one of the kids or something like plays a prank or whatever, and like slips 2 halves of the fusion bugs into like Supreme Kai and Kibito's drinks or something, and they would refuse.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a funny gag that would have tied it back together. And it's like, okay, like that means that this could theoretically, like with Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3 kind of puts a fucking wrench in it all. But
then
you could say like that would at least. Well, I was gonna say you could at least tie it in with like GT and just say like, oh well, he was only able to do it in the Demon Realm because of the power that Neva gave him, or something like that. Like his Demon World magic is. Because Neva just has all these fuck you powers.
Yeah, because Neva is basically the ultimate Meki, or whatever reason.
Pretty much. But yeah, so that's Daima.
Slow start, great ending. That's I think the best way to describe it.
I think so. So are you? What are your overall feelings on Super Saiyan 4 being brought into it?
It all depends on where this. If it's completely a standalone thing, perfectly fine with it. It gets murkier if they try to tie it into Super because it just doesn't make any sense. But
yeah, well, I mean, the only kind of like somewhat like effort to tie it in would have been like when we saw that brief image of all the different Supreme Kai from the different universes. Like that's the only thing that you could really make an argument that it ties in, but.
I'm just gonna go with the ring theory and that these are all separate universes, and we can just have fans debate for years which one's the best.
Because I mean, we were still seeing I was seeing a lot of comments like with like Diamond discussions and stuff, just being like, "Oh, this is just GT again," and then there'd be other people would be like, "GT is better." Because we always hear the GT Super debate. It's been going on forever, but.
See, Super got too big to even compare the two after a while. Like, this is...
Yeah.
Daima and GT are definitely more comparable, but Daima is just a better story because it actually makes sense. Because GT's story had its potential, and then there's just so many moments in GT where it's like, this is stupid. Like, why aren't they fixing this?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, we had the kid arc. Why is Goku still a kid? Like...
yeah,
but I enjoyed
Daima. Wrap that up.
Yeah, no, it was a fun, self-contained little story. Good. If that was truly Toriyama's final product ever, I'm very happy with it. Definitely recommend watching it in one straight go, though. Watching this show weekly was kind of infuriating. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because like that first half. So many of those episodes are like, what? Like, okay.
What are we doing here?
Like, oh, good. We did not. Goku had a bar fight and ate a sandwich. Cool.
Ate multiple burgers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I
really want a burger.
Sorry, I had a Hot Pocket today. That was my.
Well, also happened because last night we were watching. We only watched half of it, but me and Cindy watched Pompoko. And there's a scene at the beginning where all the raccoons are eating burgers. We're just like, fuck, man, I could go for a good burger right now.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that was it for Daima Time. We'll probably do this with other series going forward. We'll have to... God damn it, Siri, go away. Go away. Yeah, we'll probably do this with other shows going in the future. But, this was fun.
Yeah, we kind of have a couple of ideas about which ones we could do it with going forward, but we might take a week or two while we figure that out, depending on how we go. But
considering you're doing your Inuyasha rewatch, I had an idea for when you get to Yashahime. Maybe we could do that because I'd like to get your first opinions on a lot of it. But
that's fair. It will take a little bit though, because. I mean, I'm only like 13 episodes in.
Oh yeah, we have plenty of time to plan it.
Inuyasha's pretty long.
Sure.
Well, that's why I was thinking the one that I had in mind, especially since we'd be doing it, I think like 2 episodes at a time, just because of the way the show is structured. and it's only like a 25 or 26 episode show, like we'd get through that fairly quickly. So
Hmm.
the thought.
Yeah, yeah. We got plenty of time to think about it. But
Um,
yeah, at an hour in, we should probably get to our topic.
well, real quick, just because we're like in the middle of the episode, I don't want to save it to the end when people click off generally. But I just want to shout out that I was I was recently on an episode of Gaming Together with Nave, discussing Fable 3. So anybody who's interested, please go check that out. It was a great time. Had a good time. Thank you again, Nave, for having me on. And I think by the time this comes out, yours will be out as well.
Most
So I don't know if you
likely.
want to shut that up real quick.
I was also on Gaming Together, talking about Rocksmith. So completely different spectrums of gaming there. But check out Gaming Together in general. It's an awesome show. Nave's a good guy.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, speaking of gaming, this episode we were going to be talking a bit of a chill, more relaxed tone. We were going to talk about early gaming memories.
So trying to remember, I don't know if you ever told me like your earliest memories of gaming. Like, you might have mentioned it on GNC here and there talking to Alex, but
I probably brought it up. I mean, the earliest memory of gaming I have was like Christmas of 90. Had to have been like 98, I want to say. Maybe. When did the Game Boy Color come out?
oh, I don't know.
Game Boy Color.
No later than
98, I think.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, yeah, Christmas of 98. I remember getting my original Game Boy Color. I had the weird tealish colored one, like the one that's not quite blue but not quite green. It was in the middle.
Hmm.
And I always remember like that. I had my selection of games to choose from. I had Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, and I had Clax, and I chose Clax.
Very nice. I my first game that was actually mine was also a Game Boy Color. I had the yellow one though, and I think I don't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure I chose the yellow one because my first game with it was Pokemon Yellow.
Hmm.
So I think I did that on purpose. But
You weren't an Atomic Purple guy.
no, I don't know why that always bothered me.
That it was see through.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I appreciate it now, but as a kid, I was like, I don't want to see the wires and shit. I just want to.
Classic.
It skeeved me out. It's like somebody who had see-through skin. He's like, it just freaked me out. I don't know why.
Yeah, I always love like the because of the thing I loved about the Game Boy Color was like I love the different colors of like the handhelds because everybody's nostalgic for that one color they had as a kid. Like I don't have my original Game Boy Color. I have no idea what happened to it.
Me either.
Just disappeared over time. I did find another one like the same exact color at a flea market like years later, and I bought it just for nostalgic reasons. I still have it to this day. Good old greenish blue teal looking thing. You know what's crazy about the Game Boy Color looking back at it?
What was that?
How did we put up with that screen? Like, how did we put up with that?
I mean, it was what we knew, you know? I mean, going back to it now, I can understand it. And we were also kids, you know? So, like, you know, we were, you know, trying to play a Game Boy Color now and be like, what the fuck, you know, this little fucking thing. But,
Well,
like, when you're a kid, like, it's not that bad.
I mean, even back then, I still remember, like, God, like the many car rides where you'd be playing your Game Boy Color like this because it was the only spot where you'd have light.
Or even just like playing like something like Pokemon and going for like, you know, a night drive, but like you'd have to wait until you were under like a street light to do anything because there's no backlight on the Game Boy Color.
Or you had the worm light. Do you remember the worm light?
I do. I don't think I had one.
I had a worm light, and it was the worst fucking thing ever. Like, it was this tiny little light that like plugged into the side of your Game Boy Color, and like it had this weird like squiggly cord that you could move around and adjust. it was like you get this one little tiny like screen of light, and you just kind of have to deal with it. Like
Yeah.
it was just the things we had to do back in the day. Ironically, the Game Boy Advance I think was worse because like that screen was even darker somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. The screen itself was a little bit bigger too, wasn't it?
A little, excuse me, a little bit. It was wider
Yeah.
because when you
It
played
was,
Game Boy
it
Color
was in
games,
widescreen.
because when you played Game Boy Color games, you could do that little thing with like the little bumpers, and you could make it bigger or smaller.
Yep. But when you're making it bigger, you're just stretching it out.
You're just stretching the game out to fit on the screen, and everything looked like shit.
Yep.
Good times.
So yeah, Pokemon Yellow. And I know I think I had like a Duck Dodgers game also.
Oh, the era of licensed games. Like I had this hilarious like Jeff Gordon like X2 Racing, I think it was called. God awful racing game, but like it was a thing to play, I guess.
Hmm. And then there was also like one of the first. I don't remember what came first for me. I always say it's Medieval on that demo disc because that's the first one I remember specifically. And it was the first one that really like kind of like sparked like my imagination and
Mm.
like my interest in what video games can be. But I also remember specifically that there was at points where like I would play like one of the old Mortal Kombats at my dad's house, or I had a neighbor who had an N64. The first time I played Smash Brothers, I was like blown away
Mm.
because it was like during the rise of Pokemon. So like I was like, oh, Pokemon and Mario and all these guys all together, like this is crazy.
The rise of Pokemon might be like one of the things that we grew up with that like no other person these days will ever experience something. I don't think there's ever been something that like insane.
Mm-hmm. For
Like
sure.
Pokemania was a real thing, and like I don't know what was more entertaining, like the actual Pokemania or like all of like the controversies surrounding it.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Like how many different they like angry parents and shit shaking their fists at the company. Like,
Satanic Panic. That's
yep,
still like my favorite. Like, what the hell moment.
you're teaching our kids evolution.
Should
How dare you?
There was that. There was also the infamous Burger King toys that were killing children. That was fun.
Hmm.
Said nobody. Like there was a what's really fucked up. I found one of those in my house recently.
Which ones?
The little Pokeball Burger King toys that like you'd open up the Pokeball and there'd be a little figure in them.
Oh yeah, you want
Those,
to talk about one of these?
not one of those. They were like Pokeballs that had like little figures in them,
Hmm.
and they came with
Because I know
little.
these came in Pokeballs too. They were like the big ones,
Yeah,
right?
those are like the big boy ones, which were much more higher quality. The little Burger King ones were like these tiny little keychain looking things, and like
Hmm.
I guess like there was like a very common occurrence to the point where it happened multiple times where like they would get like suctioned over kids' faces and they would suffocate.
Jesus Christ.
And there was like recalls like left and right. Like, and I found one going through a box of junk yesterday, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, it's like I could have died. Yeah, very
Stupid
morbid.
kids.
I like just threw it
Putting
back in
things
the
in my
box.
mouth.
Threw it back in the box, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna pretend
Hmm.
that's going back where it was, and I'm gonna pretend I never saw it."
For real. Um, what's the first console game you remember playing?
Playing. So me and Alex, we didn't get our place. We had a PlayStation One, the PS1, which is the little compact version.
Hmm.
The first one I remember playing vividly was probably Crash 3.
Hmm.
Like I remember vividly playing a lot of Crash 3. I probably played other games on like other systems, like because I know my dad had a regular PlayStation before that.
You know what? You know what? Kind of think about it. I think the I could be wrong, but I think the first video game I ever played, at least that I can, as far back as I can remember, might have been Duck Hunt.
Yeah, Duck Hunt. I remember playing Duck Hunt back in the day too, just because like we had a hand me down NES as
It was on
well.
like a projector.
Oh, okay. How did
Yeah, it
that
was.
work? Because I know Duck Hunt is
I have no idea.
because Duck Hunt you can't play anymore because the light guns don't work on flat screens.
Hmm. I have
Um,
no idea how that worked, but I distinctly remember my dad had taken me to one of his friends' houses, and it was like a pool room that they had, and they had a projector set up, and it was Duck Hunt.
hmm.
I could not for the life of me tell you how that worked, but it did, and
Did,
I fucking loved it.
did you try to shoot the laughing dog?
Probably.
All kids try to shoot the laughing dog at one point.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, speaking of the laughing dog, uh, got
Nice. Is that like
good
a
time.
Smash Bros. Amiibo?
Yeah, I bought the 3 pack. It was him, Mr. Game and Watch, and Rob. The retro 3 pack,
Nice.
as they called it.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Oh man.
yeah, I remember the Duck Hunt days because we'd play that for like. As a kid, you could play it for hours. As an adult, you played for like 10 minutes. You're like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I think no, I mean there's definitely a PS1 in my house at one point. It wasn't mine. I don't know if it was my uncle's, like one of my mom's boyfriends back then, but I know there was one because that was how I played Medieval. It was like a demo disc, and I played it on that. And there was like I know I had played Crash and Spyro. Um, my cousin and I actually we used to love playing Spyro together. Like
Mm.
we'd switch off like every time one of us died or whatever, we switch.
I remember those good days back when you actually had to share with the people.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I remember,
It's fucking wild too because like my stepson had his cousin for a sleepover last night, and like we literally just had like one of them was playing VR in one room and one of them was playing Switch in the other. So like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, remember when kids actually hung out with each other for their sleepovers? Like, I don't know. It's just so weird to me. It's so weird.
yeah, because I always remember like me and Alex, like we'd play Crash 3, and I'd play the Crash levels, and I'd let her play the Coco levels, and she was perfectly fine with that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I remember doing stuff like that. I'm trying to think like a lot of racing games back then too, because I still like
Yeah.
remember Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is still like one of my favorite racing games ever.
Well, the main racing games, at least like in the early days, I mean, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 was like the racing game.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can classify this because it's not technically like what you would think of as a racing game, but ATV Off Road Fury 2, we played that a lot as well.
Eight the ATV Off Road Fury games are way better than they have any right to be.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
I had that one on PSP, and I played like the shit out of that when that first came out.
I didn't know there was a PSP version. Might have to
It,
download that.
it was a super early like launch game. I think it was called like ATV Off Road Fury Blazing Trails. I think was what it was called.
Was it good?
Um, the last time I played it was probably a decade ago, but I had fun with it when I did. So
Okay.
I
Well,
unlocked everything.
I'll
So
give it a
that's a.
shot. I'll give it a shot.
I remember playing a lot of. There was a racing game on PS2 called Test Drive Off Road Wide Open, which was a good fun racer, but it had these very specific maps, which were just like these open ended like exploration maps that you could just like fuck around in.
Hmm.
And I remember at the time, keep in mind this was like super early PS2.
Hmm.
Um, I thought like these maps were massive, and I didn't think we could get any bigger in games. And then nowadays, in hindsight, it's like, yeah, that was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even looking at Spyro and like some of those levels, like there was so much going on. A lot of
See,
those.
I miss like the old days of like when you had only one game for a time, and you'd have to make a game last. Because like I
Hmm.
remember like that test drive game in particular, like to make that game last, there'd be moments like I just remember like when you'd get down to like just like trying things out that made no sense or just like fucking around. Because like one of my favorites was like one of the maps had this train that would just constantly go, and we
Mhm.
would always just position the car on the tracks just to see what happens, or we do stuff like
Nice.
that, or we'd find that one mountain and be like, I can climb it, even though you couldn't,
Hmm.
but you'd still try.
Yep. Classic.
Hmm.
So you said you guys had a PS1 in the house.
Yes.
Was it like yours specifically, or was it like the family
So
PlayStation?
our dad had one, and then me and Alex got the PS1, which was the smaller compact one.
Hmm.
Me and Alex shared that for. So that came out like late, early 2000, I believe. We shared that for about a year until we eventually got a PS2.
Hmm.
Then the PS1 I kind of acquired because we got the cool, you could attach the screen to it and you could like play it anywhere version.
Hmm.
I ended
That's
up
cool.
getting I ended up getting that, and then that I kind of just inherited the PS1.
Hmm.
And as a dumb kid, I was kind of butthurt because I wanted the PS2 because the PS2 was better graphics at the time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, though, I realize like having a PS1 to myself was fucking amazing because PS1 has such a great library. Um,
Well, that's like kind of like the same thing I was saying when we had Jerry on a few episodes ago. Like that was just kind of the mindset like us, like our generation had. It was just like, because they were making such big leaps and bounds of graphics and like doing different things with video games. So like you always wanted the new thing. Nobody was going backwards back then.
oh yeah.
Not in our age group.
Hmm. The funniest thing too is like with that PS1 with the screen, so many nights, like when I was supposed to be asleep before school, I'd be just up till like fucking 1 in the morning playing PlayStation 1.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you how many times I got in trouble for playing Game Boy past my bedtime, like underneath the covers with like a flashlight. you
I
know.
mean, that's easier to hide though. Like you can't hide a fucking PlayStation.
It depends.
True.
Depends on your living situation. If you could stick a towel
True.
across the bottom of the door.
Yeah. I just remember like remember playing that all the time, especially when I got Final Fantasy 8 uh
Hmm.
in 99 because first RPG ever cuz dumb kid didn't know Roman numerals. Um Final Fantasy 8 lasted me almost a decade because obviously I didn't beat it when I first got it as a 4-year-old.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um that was a fun time though. That's what triggered my love for RPGs.
I mean, I guess for me, you can make a big argument for Pokemon
Mm.
because that is technically an RPG, even though a lot of people don't like putting it in that category. Like
It's an
Pokemon is just
RPG.
Pokemon.
It's an RPG. There's no way you could say it's not. Um, for some reason, though, Pokemon just doesn't feel like an RPG in the same way that most do.
Well, that's because my personal opinion, I think that's because you're not the one doing the fighting. Is your familiars are doing the fighting, even though it's all structured exactly the same.
Yeah,
But I feel like that extra degree of separation is what makes people feel like it's not as RPG-ish as, like, say, a Final Fantasy or a Dragon Quest.
I think it's because Pokemon's also just kind of transcended into this complete other thing over the
It's
years.
like its own category now.
Yeah. Now Pokemon definitely helped too. I think it was playing Final Fantasy was kind of the big opener though for how what RPGs could be.
Yeah, I mean, if we're taking Pokemon out of the equation, like obviously I didn't play any JRPGs for a while, but like action RPGs, like the Legacy Goku games, like those are
Mm.
like I got the first one of those with my Game Boy Advance, my original one, and God, I literally I was not able to beat that game as a kid. I always got stuck when you had to collect the relics on Namek, as I couldn't.
Yeah.
I never could figure out the hidden wall thing.
Hmm.
So
It's kind of crazy, but I'm always thinking about like some of my favorite some of my favorite things about gaming back in the day was like you had to be a lot like nothing was more fun than going into like EV games or games in the day.
mhm.
Um, back or toys for those who remember KB Toys.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
the old, or even Toys R Us, when Toys R Us had the giant game section. Um,
Yep.
just seeing the walls of games, because back when game stores actually just sold games, like there was none of this, like half the store is a bunch of bullshit that no one cares about.
Yeah. T-shirts and action figures and shit.
Fucking, there's more Funko Pops on the wall than games these days. It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to like game stores back in the day and just like looking at all the games and being like, wish I
Overwhelmed by it.
being a kid and not being able to buy any game sucked back in the day, especially when you realize like so many of those games you saw on the shelf are like ultra rare now and like almost impossible to find.
I remember back in like my mall rat days, like the GameStop in the old mall in our neck of the woods, and it was a tiny little GameStop. There wasn't
That
really like much to it, but
the old
like
shoebox game stuff, yeah.
but it was so packed with games. This is actually back in the day when they had DVDs.
Yeah.
But like yeah, it was always like packed with games. Like I remember that fucking huge goddamn wall of PS2 games, and it was there for so long. Like it took forever for them to finally phase out PS2.
I mean it took Sony forever to face up PS2, so
But it was wild, man. Like I think like the heaviest that like in my childhood, like when it came to playing games, was definitely the PS2 era.
oh yeah.
Like because I played games with like PS3 and Xbox 360, and even going all the way up to now, like I don't know if I've gamed as much as I ever have since like my PS2 days.
Hmm.
And I always want to go back to those games too, like the PS2 games that I played when I was a kid. I always want to go back to them.
Oh yeah, that's the thing now is like not having time to really game is always like I'm like I have like legit pretty much all the games I would ever want to play, but I have no time to ever play them. Like that's like the
Yeah.
curse of being an adult. You have you have the money to buy the things you want, but you don't have the time to actually enjoy it.
Yep. You have to wait
Um,
until you retire, and then you can play all the games when you have arthritis.
if we ever can retire at this rate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, going back to what I was saying earlier, though, like the old days of like going through the stores and stuff, it really was a different era then because you had to make your choices matter, like count.
Mm-hmm.
Because you basically it was like you'd take a look in and be like, I have to pick something that matters. And it was
Yep.
Sometimes you'd hit and a lot of the times you'd miss. And when you missed, it was always depressing.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't have as much of that problem. Um, with like the whole hit or miss thing because I tended to do like licensed games.
Sometimes
So
you
what
could miss hard there.
you can, but like generally the games I was going for were like your Dragon Ball games, your Yu-Gi-Oh games, your it was even a couple Beyblade games that I had at one point. Harry Potter games, those are really good. The Lord of the Rings games, those were really good. I'm talking like all PS2 era. Like so these were all like these are good games.
See, you could have wins like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and then you buy Finding Nemo, and you hate your life after that.
Oh god. And
That
Cars
game,
2. Cars 2 was fucking awesome.
Car- it's a shame. It's weird that they made a game about a movie that doesn't exist. I mean,
I mean, the movie exists. It's just bad.
what are you talking about? It's just a game. It's a really good kart
Yeah.
racer.
No, it was
So
like an open world. Fucking, it was like, what was what's that Forza game?
Forza Horizon. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a car.
it's Forza Horizon, but cars.
It's a really good kart racer, and then the third one that's the exact. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, what was another bad one? I'm trying to think of like the bad license games. A Dragon Ball GT Transformations. That was a waste of money.
I still defend that one.
I beat it in like a sitting, and I was like, "Well, this is great." Like,
But you could beat Mega Man in a sitting too. Doesn't make it a bad game.
well, as a child. Well, to be fair, when we were buying games, you were buying the Mega Man collections, and that's like 6 games.
That's fair.
um,
That's fair.
Also, back in the day, though, it was different because those games were meant to be super hard, so that you would take forever to beat them.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, even like as when I got my PS2, the first game I got with it, obviously like in box it came with the ATV offered Fury 2, but the first game that I like got with it was the first Dragon Ball Z Budokai game, and there were some fights in that game which were just fucking bullshit.
That is I love the original Budokai, but that is a jank ass game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of some of the other good ones. I mean, obviously, yeah, and one of the great things too was I lived like right across the street from a Blockbuster, so I used to just buy games off of the used game shelf all the time. So I got to play like a bunch of different games doing that. That was really cool.
I mean, I still remember like the game that took over my life for a long time. Um, so I wasn't allowed to play Grand Theft Auto as a kid. I didn't get to play Grand Theft Auto until I was 18 and could buy it by my own on my own. Simpsons Hit and Run. That was the closest thing to Grand Theft Auto I was ever going to play. That game took over my life for a good 2 years.
I want to play that game again so bad because I barely scratched the surface with it when I was a kid. I would just fuck around, but like I want to actually like play it.
Yeah. I've been replaying it on the original Xbox recently, and it still holds up. It is such an interesting.
I believe
game.
it. Well, it's like when I played Bully last year. Like that game still holds up. Like and I was playing. I mean, I was playing it on my PS5, but it's still like it's basically just the original PS2 game. It's just ported.
Oh yeah, well, it's like Ape Escape. Whenever I play Ape Escape 3 again on PS2, like that's still like one of my favorites of all time.
I'm trying to remember. There was this one game that I got for my birthday one year. It was a Hamtaro game, and I cannot for the life of me remember what game it was.
Is it Hams Unite?
Maybe there was a lot of Hamtaro games I found out recently.
Hams Unite is the one that everyone always remembers, so it might have been that one.
Did you watch Hamtaro?
I've watched Hamtaro Abridged.
So you didn't watch the original back in the day?
I probably saw an episode here or there. I didn't watch it religiously. I've watched the Abridged series though, because every time a character falls, I just hear dead.
That's great.
I think I'd catch Hamtaro if Alex happened to be watching it.
Fair enough.
And I was like, I'd watch it and be like, oh, there's no sexy anime girls. I'm not interested. The mind of a child.
Pretty much. But yeah, like going to the Blockbuster across the street, like getting like that was how I tried to show out Humans for the first time, and I was like fucking over the moon with that game. I loved it. I was never able to beat the first game as a kid, but the second game I beat multiple times, and in a lot of ways I liked the second game better because it had more options for like different kinds of weapons and abilities. And like in the first game, you're kind of just stuck in like jumping around different areas in the US. But in the second game, you got to bounce around. Like there was one level at I think it was the first area is in the US, and then you go to like London, Japan, Russia, and the moon are all the different stages. I still got to play the second remake.
I've heard it's good. It's definitely better than the third game, which was not good.
I've dabbled. I haven't like full on played it through yet, but I've dabbled in the Destroy Humans 2 remake, and yeah, it's really good. I've even played a little bit of the co-op, and it is way more functional than it has any right to be.
Yeah,
and yeah, there's a lot of like little quality of life stuff that they added, like with the jetpack, and you got like this glide ability now, which is really useful.
Trying to think of another big one. I think another major one for me was like when I first discovered The Sims.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge part of me and Alex's like childhood, just like making random families and just watching their lives get ruined because that's just how The Sims go these days.
See, the only Sims game I played was Herbs.
The PS2 game.
I think I played it on an Xbox, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Alex talked about that recently on GNC. Yeah, we played that one.
A weird game.
It was, but it was also weirdly. It's the most like time period of a game like you'll ever see.
Um,
I love games like that that are so like of their time. Like, and you play them now, and you're just like, "Yep, I know exactly when this game came out."
or like the Tony Hawk games.
That Tony Hawk was how I discovered most of my music tastes. In all honesty,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the Tony Hawk games were great. I used to love, especially like the later ones, like 3 and 4.
Mm.
I played the shit out of those games because those games like you had more freedom in those ones, didn't you? Like you, 'cause I know in the first couple you had like the time limit,
Mm.
but I feel like wasn't there like a free play mode in the later games?
There was. I know in some of the later ones, like you're just doing like these missions where you're just running around and like you're not even skateboarding. I'm like, what is this?
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of Tony Hawk, because you brought up Neversoft, the original Spider-Man game on PS1, that is so much nostalgia in that game.
I played that this year.
It's
Played it again.
it's inherently not an amazing game, but like it is so for a licensed like superhero game, it's some fun shit you can have there.
It's very goofy. Like the
Yeah,
the whole story of it, like the characters, like they go real hammy with it.
I'm just Venom in general is hammy. It's just like, are we gonna surf the web?
Yeah, it's great.
Surfing the web, surfing the web. It's like shut up, Brock.
It's so funny. Yeah, I had a good time with that game.
That game is goofy, but then has the most horrifying final boss in a video game.
Was that the one with all the different like the was like the Carnage
Carnage,
Doc Ock
yeah,
combination?
Doc Ock Carnage hybrid, like fucking nightmares.
Yeah, that was the thing with the PS1 games is like it was a combination of just the style of the games at the time and also like the level that graphics were at. Like a lot of that shit was like serious nightmare fuel.
I love PS1 aesthetic though. Like it is such a fun thing to look back at. Like PS1 and N64 in particular, like that aesthetic just like
Hmm.
it hits differently these days. Like doing retro like of that style now probably isn't amazing just because it doesn't look good, but like it looks nostalgic.
Yeah, for sure. Um, trying to see what else. You know, it was actually a solid license game. Was
Which one?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was like so bizarre and like had practically nothing to do with the movie, but it was actually a really fun game.
I don't know if I played that one.
It actually, you know what? That Alice Madness Returns reminded me a lot of it when I played
Hmm,
that. I
that's
haven't played
funny.
it since I was a kid, but it was actually a really fun game.
I'm trying to think because like when I think of other licensed games, like I had the Cat in the Hat game on PS2, based off of
Mhm.
the live action movie.
Yeah.
That's a movie that's a fucking trip if you ever go back and visit it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but the game is like a 2D side scroller, like a 2.5D side scroller, and it is like one of the jankiest like games you'll ever play.
Jeez.
Um,
Actually, just reminded me though. Another PS1 game that I played was A Bug's Life.
Another good platformer.
That was not the best because I there was a few different Disney games that I played on PS1 back in the day. It was A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure.
I never had those ones. I had the ones I had where I had the Tigger's Honey Hunt. That one, I hate saying that name nowadays, by the way, but um, and that one, which was a cool 2D side scroller. Me and Alex talked about it on GNC way back. I had the Goofy's Fun House, which is a pile of garbage. Don't bother.
Mhm.
What was another Disney game from that era?
Wasn't there a video game from the Goofy movie and it was like skateboard game?
There might have been. I had the Rocket Power game on a PlayStation 1, which was boring too.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever played that one.
It just you did sports. That was about it.
Hmm. But yeah, all three of the ones that I mentioned, they were all platformers. Like they're all fairly simple games. I mean, I feel like the Buzz Lightyear one is the one that most people remember.
The Toy Story 2 game was very good.
But I personally was really into the Lion King game when I was a kid.
I never played that one. I don't know how it's aged.
I played it earlier this year on my Ambernick, and it was pretty cool. I didn't remember that it covered both movies. I always thought it was just the first one, but apparently it goes through the second one too.
I'm surprised they even acknowledge the second one, to be honest, because most people
I,
don't
I
want
think the
to.
sec I think the second game was still fairly fresh at this time, so they were probably it was probably like partly a promotion thing.
Probably.
Um, but I mean, it was fine. You know, it wasn't anything like like incredibly impressive.
I
But
remember the Lilo and Stitch game on PS1 was basically just Crash Bandicoot, and I was like, "This is fine."
really,
Yeah,
I
like
never played that one. I'll have to
you
check
would
that out.
you'd run down hallways, and Stitch had a spin attack, and I'm like, "Yep." I wonder what game this is supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
There was also this Donald Duck game called like Donald Duck Go and Quackers, which was also just basically Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, they cloned a lot of games back in the day too.
Hmm. Ah, that is trying to think because I still remember like when you got your first PS2, did you play a game in it first? Did you watch a DVD?
I played a game. I was still very much on VHS at the time.
Okay, because this is a heated discussion I've discovered is like a lot. There's like a big debate on people who play DVDs first or play games.
Hmm.
Me
Well,
and
see,
Alex,
every PS2 I've ever owned or had access to, for some reason, like the code part of it never worked. Like I could, everyone always said, "Oh, the code's just 0000." Never worked
see
ever. And every
ours
PS2 I've ever
was
used.
0000, but that's just because when we started it up and wrote in the code, that's what we typed in, and that was what it was forever.
But I literally did that on every PS2 I've ever touched, and it never worked. So, like, while yes, I have watched DVDs on PS2, but they were always G, PG, or unrated. Those are the only things that would ever work.
I forgot. I have not watched a DVD in my PS2 in forever. That I forgot that there was a code.
Well, a buddy of mine, he well, he got like a fairly new place, um, but he hasn't had Wi-Fi in there like since he moved in. So he's pretty much exclusively been watching DVDs on his PS2. So I thought it was really funny that there's still people still watching DVDs on PS2s.
Yeah. I think the first thing me and Alex watched in it was actually she had a Sailor Moon DVD.
Oh, no kidding.
Just fun, just funny thinking about that.
It's bizarre. Yeah, I was still very much on the VHSs at the time.
VHS was a weird like that transition from VHS to a DVD. Like it kind of just happened one day, and then like VHS is slowly phased out.
Yeah, it still makes me a little sad. I have a fairly considerable VHS collection, and I don't know what the fuck to do with them because it takes up a lot of space.
They do. That's why they're not super collectible anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I still do want to collect Dragon Ball Z and VHS, and I have a lot of it, like a
Mm.
lot of it. I have through like the Android saga. Then like little bits here and there of other stuff, but like I have quite a bit of it already. And they never finished the VHS run of original Dragon Ball. They got to like the beginning of the TN tournament, and then that was where it cut out.
Yeah, and then they start doing the bricks.
But you can get all of Z and all of GT.
Hooray!
But it's actually really cool, like watching Z on VHS because it's like with the bricks and the Blu-rays, those they redubbed everything for that. But
Oh
the
yeah.
VHSs are the original Toonami, like what was broadcast on TV back then. So it's like
Oh,
the real
they
fucking
sound
jank delivery.
they sounded rough as fuck because they were trying to copy the
Oh
ocean
yeah,
the ocean cast.
it's so great.
God, I remember that. I still remember that shift from ocean to new to funny dub, and it was like, oh, oh.
Mhm. Yep, yep,
It's like
pretty
when we
great.
played a Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. Just the voice acting in that game is lovely.
Yeah, yeah. I need to play some more like the classic Dragon Ball. I actually I started dabbling a little bit in playing to eradicate the Saiyans.
Hmm.
I think it was an NES game actually. I played it a little bit because I have like a fan translation of it, and it's a card battler, which I don't know how I feel about.
That's fun.
Because
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to card battlers because I played Legendary Super. Was it Legendary Super Warriors on Game Boy Color back in the day?
I think so.
I still
Yeah.
have my copy too. But I loved that game. That game, I put so much time into that game. That's another one that I played on my Game Boy Color a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember those. One of these days we'll have to put. When next time you're up, we'll actually have to play Ultimate Battle 22.
Mhm.
God, that game's a piece of garbage, but it's amazing.
There's a lot of games I want to play. That's why I'd love to just like come and visit you for like a week and just fucking play games the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just not in the cards right now.
No. I hear you. I don't think any other major stories. The early gaming days are weird because like I remember like bits and pieces, but there's probably so much more stuff that I just don't remember right now.
Yeah, that's true. I just, I wanted to do another gaming episode, and this seemed like the easiest to do. Just kind of like let the conversation flow and talk about different games that we played growing up.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if like because I know PC gaming wasn't as big a thing then. Like because I remember playing like all the humongous entertainment games like Putt Putt and stuff on the PC. Sims 1 on PC. Everybody
The
played.
only game, the only game I played on PC back in the day was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
I didn't play that one. I played the Chamber of Secrets game on
Chamber of
PC, and
Secrets is so good.
the PC version is so weird.
You got to play the PS2 version. I'm
I
telling
don't.
you, I know you're not. I know you're not a Harry Potter guy, but the game is solid.
I do own that more, so maybe I'll give it that. But
Do you have the CD disc?
the PS2 game,
Yeah,
maybe
because my copy of Chamber of Secrets has like the blue.
it's
Blue bottom.
probably that.
I don't know if they ever like redid it with like the standard PS2
Probably not because they were
discs.
still doing those blue discs like super late into the system's life because those were the ones
That was.
that.
Mhm.
So the way it worked was the blue discs were actually compact discs,
Mhm.
and then the DVDs were DVDs.
Yeah.
But there were still some games, even late in system's life, that were put on compact disc, so you'd still get the blue disc every now and then.
Yeah. I think that was the only one I had that had the blue, at least out of the PS2 games. Like the PS1 was a different story, but out of PS2, I'm pretty sure that was the only one I had.
Hmm.
But, but yeah, I mean, it's probably a good place to cut it off for now.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
always come back and revisit it later and talk about different games.
yeah. Talk about different eras because like we didn't even get into like the HD era and like when that was like topic of just
Yeah.
the last console war.
Yeah. I mean, I there's a lot more PS2 games I could really dive into, but
We'll have to do another PS2 episode at some point because there's so much more. Maybe bring a guest on and just talk.
yeah, that'd be cool.
But
The thing is, I
yeah,
wish my Anbernet could play PS2 games because I'd love to just have like an easy way to just play a bunch of PS2 games, but unfortunately, it's not in the cards.
nah, I hear you.
That's why I want to get one of those like more console style like emulation machines, something that can
Like
run
a
PS2 games,
Raspberry Pi or something.
something like that, but with less setup required.
Hmm. Yeah, that's be fun at some point. But yeah. Once again, guys, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com. It's an awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different shows, videos, blogs. Both me and Matt were on gaming together recently, so be sure to check those episodes out. And yeah, check out all the fun shows. Tommy resurrected the Ride Drive Along show. again.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's fun. But yeah, fun stuff. Be sure to check everyone out over there. But anyways, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.
Have a good one.